He wasn't just the king of rock. Behind the scenes, Elvis Presley put on his kimono, tied his black belt, and transformed into a true martial arts warrior. But was the stage star really a karate master, or just another legend created around his name? Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of Elvis and his relationship with karate, between discipline, controversy, and true passion. In 1958, Elvis Presley was already a global idol, but his life would take an unexpected turn when he was drafted into the U.S. Army. Far from the stages, the crowds, and the glitter of Hollywood, Elvis landed in West Germany, where he would serve for 2 years. It was in this environment, in the midst of military discipline, that he had his first contact with karate. In the city of Bad Nauheim, Elvis met Jürgen Seidel, considered the father of German karate. Seidel had introduced the martial art into the country just a few years earlier, in 1957, and would become Germany's first official instructor. Elvis, curious and always seeking new forms of expression, decided to enroll in his classes. The impact was immediate. For the first time, the young star found a practice that combined physical strength, mental self-control, and philosophy, elements that directly contrasted with the chaotic celebrity life he was used to. During this period, Elvis also came into contact with Japanese master Tetsuji Murakami, one of the pioneers of karate in Europe, who spread the Shotokan style. Although there is no consensus on the depth of this training, records indicate that Presley attended and practiced in some of his sessions. For him, it wasn't just exercise. It was a way to keep his mind focused during a period of isolation, far from family and stardom. In his personal diaries and in accounts from close friends, it is said that Elvis immersed himself deeply in training, repeating basic moves for hours, fascinated by the discipline and the philosophy of respect that surrounded each strike. This dedication wasn't only physical. The singer carried martial arts books with him and read about Eastern traditions, absorbing both technical fundamentals and spiritual concepts. On July 21, 1960, back in the United States, Elvis received his first black belt rank. The moment was widely recorded and later celebrated as one of the landmarks in his personal journey. It wasn't just a status symbol. For Elvis, this achievement represented discipline, focus, and identity beyond music. Few people knew, but while the American media anxiously followed the King of Rock's return to recordings and stages, Elvis spent hours in studios and dojos, training kicks, punches, and katas. This side of the star remained hidden from most of the public, who only saw him under the dazzling lights of shows. The contrast was striking. On one side, extravagant sequin costumes, sensual poses, and the crowd screams. On the other, the white kimono, the simple belt, and the serenity of a student before the tatami. This duality revealed a facet of Elvis few knew, a man who, despite fame, sought in karate a path of discipline, balance, and personal identity. This initial phase was the awakening of something that would become a lasting passion. Karate would not be just a pastime, it would deeply shape his life, his stage posture, and even his way of connecting with the audience. Back in the United States, Elvis Presley didn't abandon karate. On the contrary, he delved even deeper. In Memphis, he began training with Master Kang Rhee, a Korean-born teacher who had developed his own style, Pasaryu. It was Kang Rhee who nicknamed Elvis Tiger, a name the singer adopted proudly, embroidering it on his kimonos and belts. Under Kang Rhee's guidance, Elvis began to be seen not just as a practitioner, but as a true enthusiast and promoter of martial arts. In 1973, he received his 7th degree black belt, an impressive title for someone who had started barely more than a decade earlier. A few years later, rumors spread that he had even reached the 8th degree, which, if confirmed, would place him among the highest-ranking masters in the karate world. But this is precisely where controversies arise. Many experts question the legitimacy of these promotions. In martial arts tradition, each rank requires years of practice, rigorous tests, and deep technical knowledge. Advancing quickly, especially to such high levels, is rare, almost impossible. For critics, the speed at which Elvis supposedly achieved these ranks raises the possibility that some of his promotions were honorary, a form of recognition for his status, influence, and dedication, but not necessarily the result of formal exams. The stories around him only fuel the doubts. One of the most talked about claims is that shortly after receiving his 7th degree, Elvis gifted Kang Rhee with a brand new Cadillac. For some, it was simply a gesture of gratitude, typical of Elvis, known for his generosity with friends and collaborators. For others, it fed the suspicion that higher ranks may have come wrapped in personal favors, not solely technical merit. Despite criticism, it's undeniable that Elvis took karate seriously. Close friends reported that he spent late nights training, even after exhausting performances in Las Vegas. Many times, he called his bodyguards and crew members to practice together, turning rehearsals into improvised martial arts sessions. There are accounts that he insisted on teaching self-defense techniques to fans and acquaintances, repeating movements with patience and intensity, as if he were a true instructor. The contrast between admiration and skepticism marks this period of Elvis's life. On one hand, he was respected for his passion, discipline, and for helping popularize karate in the American South. On the other, he faced silent criticism within the martial arts community, which questioned whether the King of Rock really had the technical knowledge compatible with the ranks he flaunted. This duality created an aura of mystery. Did Elvis truly earn each belt with effort and dedication, or were some of his titles symbolic, the result of his charisma and cultural influence? The truth seems to lie somewhere in between. What's certain is that, regardless of doubts, Elvis saw in karate much more than just a title. He saw a philosophy of life, a path of personal identity, and a way to connect with something greater than the fame surrounding him. By the 1970s, Elvis Presley was no longer just a singer. He was a global cultural icon. During this time, karate ceased to be just a private hobby and began to spill into his artistic life, shaping his performance style, his posture, and even his relationship with fans. During his Las Vegas shows and tours, Elvis began incorporating martial arts moves into his choreography. His famous high kicks, simulated strikes, and firm stances were directly inspired by karate. Many fans thought they were watching a new form of dance, but for Elvis, those movements were part of a philosophy of strength, control, and presence. This fusion of music and martial arts created a unique spectacle that transformed his shows into more than simple performances. They were true demonstrations of physical and spiritual energy. In 1974, Elvis went a step further and decided to finance a documentary entirely dedicated to the subject, The New Gladiators, produced in partnership with Ed Parker, a Kempo master and one of the most respected martial arts figures in the United States. The project aimed to showcase the growth of American karate and highlight its seriousness as a discipline, but it also served as proof of Elvis's personal passion for the art. The film, however, was never released in his time, remaining unseen until restored and shown in 2002. The very existence of this project shows how Elvis wanted to be recognized not only as the King of Rock, but also as a promoter of martial arts in the West. The impact of karate on Elvis's life also extended to his inner circle. He encouraged friends, bodyguards, and members of the Memphis Mafia to train. Many times he turned private gatherings into impromptu classes, teaching self-defense techniques and repeating moves with enthusiasm. His favorite dojo, Kang Rhee's in Memphis, even became a cultural meeting point, known as the Tiger Man Karate Dojo Museum. More importantly, there was cultural influence. Before Bruce Lee's rise in Hollywood, Elvis was already helping to make martial arts known and respected in the West. By incorporating karate into his art, he opened the door for the American public to see it not just as fighting, but as a lifestyle. Many young fans, inspired by their idol, sought out gyms to begin their own training. In the end, karate wasn't just a passing phase in Elvis's life. It was a pillar of balance amid the overwhelming pressure of fame. While the world saw him as the king of rock, he found on the tatami a way to be just Elvis, the dedicated student, the man in search of discipline and inner peace. This passion shaped his image, marked his work, and left a lasting legacy for karate in the United States and in popular imagination. The story of Elvis and karate shows us that, behind the myth, there was a man searching for balance, discipline, and identity. A lesser-known side of the King of Rock that continues to fascinate the world to this day. If you enjoyed this journey into the hidden side of Elvis Presley's life, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you won't miss upcoming videos, and of course, like and share this content with your friends who also love music, history, and curiosities. That way, you help this community grow and motivate me to bring even more incredible stories like this one. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.